Since its founding in 1979, the U.S. Department of Education, DOE, has played a major role in shaping federal student loan policies. However, many experts believe that the current system has significantly contributed to the soaring cost of education and the mounting debt students face. Now, with former President Donald Trump pushing to drastically reduce the DOE's size and eventually shut it down, some believe that privatizing the student loan system could be a game changer, leading to real reform and lower costs for students. The shift toward government-run loans historically, student loans operated under a mixed system, with both government and private lenders involved. However, during the Clinton administration, the direct loan program was introduced, allowing the federal government to issue loans directly to students. This system coexisted with private lending for a while, but in 2010, everything changed. When the Obama administration passed the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, it included a provision that eliminated private lenders from the federal student loan program. The government took full control, using the projected profits from student loans to help fund healthcare initiatives. Since then, all federal student loans have been government-issued, meaning that students borrow directly from the U.S. government rather than private banks or lenders. Trump's plan to overhaul student loans. In March, Trump signed an executive order dismantling the DOE, sparking a major debate over the future of federal student loans. Initially, his administration proposed transferring the massive $1.6 trillion student loan portfolio to the Small Business Administration, SBA. However, recent reports suggest that the Treasury Department might take over instead. Additionally, the Trump administration is considering shifting Pell Grants and Title I funding to other federal agencies, reducing the DOE's influence over major educational programs. Would privatizing loans make a difference? According to Andrew Gillen, an expert from the Cato Institute, simply moving student loan oversight to another government department wouldn't fix the root problems. If we just transfer student loans to the Treasury and don't change anything else about the system, I don't think this would have any real impact, Gillen explained. The terms of these loans are set by Congress, so just changing who handles the paperwork won't solve anything. Gillen argues that the current system encourages bad investments by financing education without guaranteeing that students will be able to repay their loans. Since the government doesn't assess repayment risk the way private lenders do, loans are often given out regardless of a borrower's future earning potential. A privatized system, he suggests, would force colleges to be more accountable for student success. If lenders had to consider repayment risks, they would be more selective in funding education that leads to well-paying careers, preventing students from drowning in debt for degrees with low job prospects. The issue of student loan bankruptcy. Another major problem with federal student loans is how difficult they are to discharge through bankruptcy. Unlike other types of debt, student loans are nearly impossible to wipe out, except in rare cases of extreme financial hardship. There are a couple of things we can do to encourage private lenders to be willing to make those loans, Gillen said. One of them is clarifying how bankruptcy law works with income-driven loans. Some lawmakers have taken steps in this direction. Representatives Steve Cohen, Danny K. Davis, and Eric Swalwell recently reintroduced the Private Student Loan Bankruptcy Fairness Act. If passed, this legislation would allow private student loans to be discharged in bankruptcy, similar to credit card debt and other consumer loans. The future of student loans in a changing system. As the debate continues, one thing is clear. America's student loan crisis isn't going away anytime soon. By fiscal year 2024, the Department of Education held a staggering $1.6 trillion in student loan debt and issued $85.7 billion in new loans. Of that, $45.3 billion was for undergraduates, while $40.4 billion was for graduate students. Over the years, income-driven repayment plans, introduced in the 1990s, have provided relief by allowing borrowers to make payments based on their earnings. However, these plans also extend loan terms and increase the total amount paid over time, sometimes making the debt even more burdensome in the long run. The question remains, should student loans remain a government-controlled system, or would privatization lead to a fairer, more sustainable solution? While Trump's approach to downsizing the Department of Education is controversial, it has undoubtedly reignited the conversation about how to best tackle America's growing student debt crisis.
For full video, click related link below or like and subscribe this channel.